All the hype and fuss around Dandadan was about it being fresh and something new. It was meant to be the Wild West of Shonen Jump, bringing a unique style of storytelling that goes about everything in its own way. And yeah, it was. What, were you expecting me to suddenly go, nah, it's actually pretty generic? It is weird and quirky, no shackles bind this show, making it truly limitless in its potential. There are still some typical fundamental shonen stuff, like yes, there are good and bad guys fighting each other, but then you see some of these scenes and you think,
I'll let you suckle my teats, boy, if you let me gobble your dung.
that's not what Vegeta would do. But what impressed me more is that despite being so exaggerated and unrealistic, it still manages to feel more real than most shonen anime. You must have noticed, in almost every anime, there is an anime filter. Like, you can feel these are not real people. Not only because, yeah, they're drawings moving on your screen, but also in the way they act and behave. You know, your generic good boy protagonist, always being happy, working hard, doing all they can to become the best in their world. And Okuran? Well, he's just what do you call them? Yeah, a bitchless nerd. He's just a socially awkward nerd who has been bullied throughout his childhood. He does not aspire to become a grand personality, but is just a normal dude who nerds out a little too much about space and aliens. He does not want to save the world or make it a better place, but he'll try his damn hardest to make sure everyone around him whom he genuinely cares for will always feel happy with him. He's just a very relatable and grounded character. You know who he reminds me of? All of us. It can be as big as asking your crush out, or as small as asking for extra tissues at McDonald's. Obviously on various levels, but we are all like him at some point. Oh no, I might have pissed off 14-year-olds who think they move like Eren Yeager.
Love is the best feeling. Learning dark psychology at a young age.
Real ones didn't learn it. They were born with it.
Momo, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. She is outspoken, candid, and very upfront. At first, she might seem like the spoiled, spoon-fed white girl who does not give a fuck about anyone apart from herself. Girl, you I'm never doing that again. But the more you learn about her and her backstory, the more you realize how wrong you were. She'll make sure everyone pays if they hurt her friends. She'll get punched in the gut for them, and she'll stay up the entire night for some random muscular system mannequin. What even is this? But more than all that, she's just a vibe. After kicking Aira's ass, she waves her goodbye through her spirit energy, having no idea Aira can see spirits as well. So in her head, she knows this girl can't see the goodbye she's waving, but still does it just for the fuck of it, as a big fuck you on her face. I mean, that's just so based. And when you bring these stark opposite personalities together, it creates a very well written dynamic. The only reason I was enjoying Dandadan, at least at the start, was because of this friendship. The constant banter and the occasional deep interactions were so fun to watch. It's just two personalities with different nerdy interests living each other's nerd wet dream, exploring aliens and ghosts. This extends to the entire side cast as well, by the way. No one is one-dimensional and has some flaws. They are all quite pathetic at times and just downright bad, but that is what makes them layered and more interesting. Dandadan could very well work as a sitcom, and this is not a joke. The characters and their bickering were so fun that at times when the action started playing out, I was like, no, just go back and hang out at school, please. Now take these characters and put them in a thoughtfully written story, and it's no surprise this was one of the biggest hits of 2024. This short mini arc in the first episode itself, about Okuran and Momo hearing out their life stories, trying to understand and coming to appreciate each other's nerdy hobbies, was so surprising. A new gen anime with such a mature story, focused on emotional story beats instead of just constant meaningless action? Yeah, sign me up. If that was everything, I would have chalked it down to a high quality, solid new gen show. But what pushed me into making this video was a drama you could rarely find in anime, and that is, of course, episode 7. Initially, when the hype surrounding this episode started going wild on Twitter, I thought to myself, oh yeah, it must be another big fight with insane fast moving animation. But on my watch, I was so surprised to see it was just a story, a raw human story. Acrobatic Silky at first seemed like just another monster of the week for Okarun and Momo to defeat, but suddenly it delves into a heartbreaking drama. This backstory packs the best character writing Dandadan has to offer. It is by far the most complex and emotionally charged story within the season. Abuse, trauma, regret, denial, and depression. It's so rare that a story juggling so many sensitive topics doesn't get crushed under the weight of its own ambition. But somehow it manages it all. On paper, it is very cliche, right? A horrible demon given a sob story right before its demise to artificially evoke some sort of emotion within the audience. But the way Dandadan goes about it is what separates this from, let's say, something like Demon Slayer. This backstory is not trying to justify Silky's actions or explain why and how she became an evil spirit. This backstory makes you question whether she even is an evil spirit in the first place. Is she an evil spirit or just a kind and compassionate mother trying her damn hardest to take care of her daughter, only to be brutally abused and stripped of those calm, loving hands? She did nothing wrong, yet still carries the crushing regret of not being able to save her child, even though she gave everything she had right up until the very end. And when her daughter, her life, was stolen away, she was left with nothing. She couldn't express those feelings to anyone, couldn't show her anger, her frustration, her despair. So in that moment, all she could do was dance. Dance because it was the core memory she cherished with her daughter. Under the deep night, starry sky, she dances and dances, her body floating gently like water, slowly pouring all her raw emotions into the universe, hoping desperately that somehow they can just get to her daughter or anyone at all. But Faith is so unreasonably cruel that even at the lowest point in her life, when she had already given up on ever seeing that innocent smile again, she was given a cruel glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, her daughter was still alive, calling out for her. And with that false hope, she died, only to return as a spirit, endlessly searching for a daughter who exists only in her head. So tell me, would you really call her an evil spirit? The entire story was just so beautifully done that I really can't put my finger on the one thing that makes the story work so well, cause it's everything. I've already sung all the praises about its writing. The anime adaptation was great throughout the season, but this one episode was extended and polished to its absolute best. The smooth and dazzling choreography, the mesmerizing art, and the sorrow and dreamlike music breathe life into the screen. You could feel the team pushing beyond their limits to make this by far the best looking episode of the season. It all formed symphonious elements that, when put together, create one of those rare moments you've had, where a scene was so raw and profoundly human that by the time the episode ends and tears run down your face, you just hold your breath and sit there in silence, is overwhelmed with gratitude for every single soul who poured themselves in creating this masterpiece.